And talking about the preparation, let's jump into the recruiting process because maybe it's one of the most important things because when you start a season and you don't have the right team, there's not much that you can do. So, how is your recruiting process system?
Yeah, so again, for us, it's very, it's more of a sort of a niche type of recruiting because number one, the students we recruit have to be outstanding academically. So it sort of limits the field. And I think for me, again, working, as I tell young coaches, you want to try to, when you get into this, you want to try to work somewhere that matches, just like the recruit, it matches as a coach what the university represents. And so understanding that, we are recruiting a very specific group of players. Now, once we get to that group of players, it may be only 30 or 40 players for a year that we examine, we evaluate, and we get it down to maybe three spots, right? But really, I would say, even for like we're recruiting for 2025 now, we recruit quite early. The players who just finished 10th grade, because we already know they are academic because they've already spent 2 years in high school. If they're successful to that point, then we will continue to recruit them. And obviously, they have to be a very high tennis standard as well. But I think once you get that group, then it's a smaller group of players that maybe whittle down. I tell this to junior groups all the time when I'm talking to kids that are looking for colleges or just to be a successful tennis player and asking about our recruiting process. When we go to a tournament, we may start with a big list, but it's interesting how it really whittles down quickly because I'll tell the kids, well, I'll see a player throw a racket over the fence and I'll mark him off the list, right? He's no longer considered for us. I'll see maybe you're in the parking lot after the match and you'll see a player maybe smart off to his mother or father or coach, and I'll see that like off the list. So I think the recruiting is not so much accumulating player. We always think of like you're bringing player, but you're also at the same time you're reducing the number of players to get the specific ones you want. And it's not a perfect science, clearly. And every year you have a different group of players that offer different things. So I think the best coaches that I've seen in college tennis they've been great recruiters, but they've also had the good players they get recruit for the institution. So if you're from Argentina, for instance, you have a few players like we played Utah last year. They had some very, very strong Argentinian players, and I'm sure they help get the other one there. And I'm sure that's the same. So once you get a certain culture, you have players that can help with that process. So when they come to campus, they really help. The worst thing is when you have players that are selfish and don't really care about helping. Maybe they'll be graduated by the time this guy comes, so they don't care. But if there's pride in the program and the institution, then they will help.
Yeah, it looks like you have a fine-tuned process, and I watch your roster, and half of the rosters are international students. So, what do international students add to the program?